Hi, I'm Margie.
And I'm Barb, and together we are the
Real Marketing Mavens.
And today we're ready to talk about what it's like to start a business.
Yes, entrepreneurship.
And we have with us Jackie Parker, who you've seen before as a political maven, but now in talking to her, we found out she started her own business. She was actually an entrepreneur. So why did you start a business?
The children were little, young, and we wanted to get out of the house. A couple of friends and myself, and we were into the counted cross stitching craze at that time. So back in the 80s, and oh my gosh, 80s, maybe even 70s. Anyway, so we thought it would really be fun to supply those tools and those implements in the books that were needed because there wasn't anything in our area. Yes, you could go to some of the local chains and get some of that, get the threads and get the books, but we thought it would really be nice to have a boutique that's all we did. So we opened up a little shop on 8th Street called Over the Rainbow Stitchery, and in there we not only had counted cross stitch, but we also had rug hooking. Remember that rug hooking? Yes, and needlepoint. And
Did you teach this? You taught?
I taught the counted cross stitch. I am not a good needle pointer, but yes, we could do that. And of course, the rug hooking is not too difficult. But yes, we did have some of that as well. As I recall, we did carry some yarns for knitting. I am not a knitter, but my partner Betsy, she helped with all that too as well, and she could do that. So it basically was just supplying those tools and the things that you needed for counted cross stitch that you couldn't find anywhere.
So what steps? You and Betsy, your partner, decided you're going to do this. What did you do next?
Well, first of all, we did have a business plan. Okay, not a great one, but we had a business plan about inventory. We went to shows. We went to shows in New York.
Wow!
Oh yes, they have counted cross stitch shows. I don't know if they still have them.
Weekend in New York City without the husband. All right.
That's right. It was fun. We spent the night. Oh, it was great. So we learned a whole lot just about from those shows. All the vendors that were there, and again, that was a hot time for counted cross stitch, and so the materials, the hooks, oh gosh, I can't even remember
the frames.
Thank you, frames. Yes, the frames that you had to put in, and really the books. There were so many cool books that you could get, so that you could design what you wanted to put. And we did trays. You did trivets. You did Christmas stockings. You as a person designed them. The books showed the pattern, and then you put it on your material, and then you put it into, when we did the framing for like a tray, or we did a framing for a trivet, or we did the framing for a wall hanging. Now if you did a Christmas stocking, we didn't do the sewing. I'm not a good sewer, but anyway, you could cut out the pattern and just make a stocking. I have a couple stockings at home. So yeah, and so that to finish that. So we obviously we had to have some capital, so we had some money ourselves, and then we went to the bank. And at that time, it was sure, start your own business. That sounds great.
They were had a business plan to show.
Yes, and I had a business.
So we had a business plan. And financials.
Right.
I can talk finances.
We knew how much inventory we needed to get started. And again, those supplies, were continual. So we didn't have to just have a whole bunch of stuff in the store at one time, but we knew we could just, renew, the materials and the threads. We did have salesmen come in and show us different things. It was, it was a fun time.
So then you came back from New York and you had to find a building. What did you have to go through?
So that's important because you wanted to be in the right place that would have foot traffic, that number one, and that people could see it. So we had a storefront that was very visible with lots of glass that you could see in, and see what we were doing with a big sign that said Over the Rainbow in the front.
We had a logo.
We had a logo. Yep. We had a logo. And again, back in those days, we didn't have social media, so we did advertising in the local newspapers, and we did some radio. Yep, we did radio, and really just word of mouth. Because a lot of our friends were doing counted cross stitch, and they were going way out of town to get the supplies. So this way they could just come right into Lebanon and get it. And we had quite a few people coming from now out of town into Lebanon to get the supplies. And the other thing that you have to consider when you start a business is it zoned properly for what you're going to do. And of course, we were in the downtown area, so that was commercial. It was commercial, so it was fine.
So it was already zoned, permitted.
Yep. And our landlord was like, very, very accommodating. Yep, he thought that was great. Have a little storefront, retail store, of kind of cross stitch.
Wow. Okay. Any advice to an entrepreneur who wants to get started?
I think again, you have to know your passion. You have to know what's kind of fun for you. Kind of cross stitch was fun for us at the time, and we were into it. And so we were always doing it, and so you kind of think, okay, well, what is it that we need, and so what is it that other people need, and what's the demand? We would go out other places and say, hey, how come we have to go to Lidditz or we have to go to Harrisburg? Why can't we just get this stuff here? So that's number one. Number two, you have to have a business plan, because you really have to think about the advertising, the costs, the rent, the continual inventory that you do have to have, and it depends on your product. If you have to have it in the store, or you can make it, those kinds of things. And then it was my partner and myself, and we just manned it ourselves. So if, you have to find out if you have labor.
It sounds to me like because you guys were so passionate about it, you had great customer service, and so you had. That's how your word of mouth grew, and you had repeat customers, and that's awesome.
And you know what? We had a lot of men come in. Men came in to do kind of cross stitch. Oh my gosh, we were so surprised. They want certain colors for their threads. They wanted certain books. Yeah, they were doing all kinds of. Yeah, it was a hot time. Hot time for kind of cross stitch.
And there you go. You heard it here first. Hot time for count and cross stitch, which I still think there's still some people that do it.
Oh yes. I still have all my materials.
You still do it?
I still. Well, I don't really do it, but I have the books and the threads and everything.
Okay. Yeah, my idea of sewing is taller shoes for him. So.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Jackie Parker, for sharing your entrepreneurial journey with us, because we are the Real Marketing Mavens.
Real women.
Real stories.
Real results. See you next time.